What if I told you that one of the most influential artists in the history was once rejected, criticized, and even ridiculed for his work? Yet today his paintings are celebrated worldwide, selling for millions. This is the story of Claude Monet, the father of Impressionism, an artist who saw the world in colors and light like no one before him. As I paint the portrait of Monet, let's take a journey into his life, his struggles, his breakthroughs, and the legacy he left behind. Claude Monet was born in 1840s in Paris, but he spent most of his childhood in Le Havre, a coastal town in Normandy. Believe it or not, before he ever picked up a paintbrush, he was more interested in drawing cartoons. As a teenager, he became famous locally for his hilarious caricatures, selling them for a few francs each. His mother supported his artistic ambitions, but his father wanted him to go into business. Classic parent struggle, right? But Monet was determined. At 16, he left for Paris to study art. And that's when everything changed. When Claude Monet arrived in Paris in 1859, the art world was already dominated by how the art should look like. Everything had to be realistic, historical, or religious, with perfectly smooth brushwork and dramatic polished compositions. But Monet, he wanted something different. He wasn't interested in painting grand mythological scenes, he wanted to paint real life as it happened. Paris was full of young, ambitious artists, but Monet quickly gravitated toward a group of like-minded rebels. Pierre-Auguste Renoir, Alfred Sisley, and Frederic Bazille. These guys didn't want to follow the strict academic rules. They wanted to capture the world as they saw it, with fresh, loose brushstroke and vibrant colors. They started painting outside, or in plein air, which was revolutionary at the time. Just imagine a group of young painters dragging their easels out of dark, stuffy studios into the sunlight. This was the birth of Impressionism. Just they didn't know it yet. But here's the thing, the art world hated what Monet and his friends were doing. The prestigious Salon de Paris, the official exhibitions that every artist dreamed of getting into, rejected their works over and over. Critics thought that their paintings looked unfinished or messy. Instead of blending colors smoothly, Monet and his friends left visible brushstrokes, depth of colors, and loose, sketch-like forms. One of the critics even described their paintings as a slap in the face of tradition. This rejection could have broken them, but instead it brought them together. They started gathering at Café, a small cafe in Paris, where they spent hours debating art, light and color. This wasn't just a hangout spot, it was the headquarters of a revolution. Monet, Renoir and their friends decided, fine, if the saloon won't accept us, we'll make our own exhibition. So in 1874 they held the first ever Impressionist exhibition, where Monet debuted his now famous painting, Impression Sunrise. Despite the first Impressionist exhibition in 1874, Monet's road to success was anything but easy. The critics were ruthless. One reviewer compared his painting Impression Sunrise to wallpaper in its early stages, mocking the loose brushstrokes and lack of fine detail. Art buyers weren't convinced either. His paintings weren't selling well, and Monet found himself struggling financially. He even had to ask friends like Renoir and Monet for loans just to get by. At one point, he was so broke that he burned some of his own paintings just to keep warm in the winter. But things slowly started to change. A wealthy art collector began supporting Monet's work, buying several of his paintings. This was a turning point. Monet finally had a patron who believed in his vision. But then, tragedy struck. His beloved wife Camille fell ill after giving birth to their second son, and in 1879 she passed away. After years of struggling in Paris, Monet decided he needed a new environment, somewhere peaceful, full of nature. In 1883 he moved to a small village called Giverny. At first he rented a house there, but as his painting started gaining recognition, he was able to buy the property outright. And then he turned Giverny into his masterpiece. Monet wasn't just painting landscape, he was creating them. He designed gardens with thousands of flowers, planted willow trees, and most famously he built his water lily pond. This garden became his sanctuary and the inspirations for some of his greatest works. Once the garden was complete, Monet became obsessed with painting it. He painted his water lilies over 250 times, at different times of day, in different lighting, in different seasons. Some of his largest works were so huge that he had to build a special studio just to accommodate the canvases. Monet himself said, "I perhaps owe it to the flowers that I became a painter." His love for nature and light completely defined his artistic style. By the early 900s, Monet was finally recognized as one of the greatest painters of his time. Critics and collectors who once mocked him were now praising his vision, and his paintings were being bought for huge sums of money. But even as Monet reached success, another challenge appeared: his eyesight. By the 1910s, he started losing his vision due to cataracts, making it difficult for him to see colors clearly. This is why some of his later paintings have a reddish-brown tint. His cataracts made everything appear that way. But even when almost blind, Monet refused to stop painting. He kept working on his water lily series, relying more on instinct and memory than actual sight. Eventually, in 1926, at the age of 86, Monet passed away in Giverny, leaving behind a legacy that changed art forever. And now, as I put the final touches on my portrait of Monet, I can't help but admire his resilience. He spent his entire life fighting against expectations, rejected by critics, struggling with money, losing loved ones, and even battling blindness. But he never stopped painting. His legacy isn't just about art. It's about seeing the world differently, about appreciating light, color, and the beauty of everyday moments. And that's why even today, Monet paintings still captivate us. Thank you for joining me on this artistic journey. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. What's your favorite Monet painting?